Nourishing bread powered by FIIRO. And this is 20% cassava flour in this bread. If you're not eating this bread, you don't know what you're missing. This bread is tasty. This bread is salty. This bread has a shelf life that's way over 5 days. And this bread is cheaper than 100%.
This afternoon we have quickly, without too much of our time, we want to start with a little prayer. I want to do this by calling on Engineer Fix Adio. So please lead us in Let us pray. Let us pray. Father, in Jesus' name, the Lord King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, King of all goodness, and the person of our life. Father, we thank you. Thank you for this afternoon. Bless the holy name for Lord in Jesus' name. Father, King of God, I pray that you will direct us here, lead us through, Lord, and make things happen today, Lord, in the mighty name of Jesus. God, I thank you, God, for being here. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen. A very big thank you to you, sir. Quickly this afternoon, we here in FIIRO, we can say we are the privileged ones. And quickly we want to move on to the second thing we have on our program of activities, which has to do with the introduction of the FIIRO management. Overseeing the affairs of this great institute, Honorable Minister, is the Director General and Chief Executive of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research in the person of Dr. Mrs. Gloria Elemo. Sitting to the right of the DG and Chief Executive of FIIRO is Dr. Patrick Irabo, who is the Director and Head of the Project Development and Design Development of FIIRO. To the right of Engineer Irabo, we have Mr. Akinwunmi. He is the Director and Head of our Human Resources Management Department. We have Dr. Chima Ikwe, who oversees the Department of Chemical, Fiber and Environmental Technology here in FIIRO. To the right of Dr. Chima Ikwe, we have Mrs. Nicola Adesea. She is the Director and Head of the Department of Planning, Technology Transfer and Information Management. We have Dr. Mrs. Itaiti Dike, who is the Director and Head of the Biotechnology Department here in FIIRO. We also have to the right of Dr. Dike, Mr. Okewo, who is the Deputy Director in charge of Finance and Accounts. We have Dr. Mrs. Tony Duwole, is the Acting Director of the Food Technology Department. Quickly, we also have, very close here, we have Mrs. Augusta Ozumba, who is the Director and Head of the Production Analytical Department here in FIIRO. We have Dr. Adiola here also, who also is the the Head of the Food Technology Department here in FIIRO as well. Though he's retired, but not tired. You are welcome to our midst. We have in our midst this afternoon, Honorable Minister, Deputy Directors from the various divisions here in FIIRO. In order to save our time, with the permission of the DG, can you stand up for recognition? Those are some of the management team we have there together with the DG. And in the ministers team, we have on the list given to us here, we have Mr. Patrick O.A., who is the Regional Director of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. We also have Dr. Adebisi Araba, the advisor to the minister. We have Ms. Ada Osakwe, who is the Senior Investment Advisor to the Honorable Minister. We also have Mr. Remy Okubuyechi, the Special Assistant to the Honorable Minister. Trying to work to save time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to hand over the proper introduction of the Honorable Minister to our DG, who at the same time will also give us an opening speech.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Adishna. He does not need any recognition. We all know him. He's a minister of ministers. Dr. Akinwunmi talks for himself. He's an agriculturist of excellence. He's a passionate Nigerian, like I have once said. He's a goal-getter. He's an achiever and a warrior. So we are happy to have you here this afternoon with us, Dr. Adishna. And on behalf of the governing board, headed by Dr. Alex Oki, I called him this morning and I told him, he said, Madam, this is real short notice. I will have come down immediately. I said, my chairman, it was also short notice for me. He extends his love and appreciation for your coming to the Institute. We appreciate it very much. So on behalf of him, the governing board, and the entire management staff here present, in the presence of the directors and the deputy directors, I say welcome to the Institute. With your permission, Honorable Minister, maybe I can sit down. Thank you, sir. So, along with your high-powered delegation, we want to say welcome once more. We acknowledge your presence, directors here, and gentlemen of the press. On behalf of the entire management and staff of the Institute, it is my honor and privilege to receive you today, sir, during the occasion of your working visit to the Institute. This is the mother of all events, even though your visit today is the first of our eminent and distinguished personalities' visit to the Institute this year. This signals good beginning, and to us, it is very strategic to the achievement of our set goals for the year 2014. Sir, permit me to go a little down the memory lane from available records. Ministers of Agriculture have always visited the Institute from the 60s till 80s to see the work being done in the Institute through the processing of food crops with a view to developing strategic partnership to guarantee food security in the country. Since then, the bond of partnership has weakened. Today, history is being made again. You have broken the jinx, sir. Your visit is a landmark in the recent history of the Institute. Just like I said, since my tenure as the Director General, from 2011, this is the first time I'm receiving an honorable minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We were not able to even receive our own minister. I have always dreamt of a day like this, sir, when like minds will come together for common goal, even before you gave me your words concerning this visit, during the 19th Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja, where you visited the Institute stand and you promoted its cassava bread. Though this visit was supposed to come up in October 2013, but by providence and divine arrangement, you are finally here today. Welcome, sir. Your own institute. Most of the technologies developed at the Institute have been found to be very relevant and suitable to the agricultural transformation agenda of your ministry. Most especially, cassava, yam, sorghum, rice, and the whole of the agricultural value chain. There is no agricultural raw materials in Nigeria that has not been touched here at the Federal Institute of Industrial Research. Sir, I will present to you in my next presentation some of the Institute's landmark achievements of national significance. The Institute's success story is actually development of the sorghum malt for the replacement of barley malt, and this has been fully commercialized by the breweries, not only in Nigeria but also internationally. Also, the Institute's R&D in cassava processing, which started way back in the 60s, has formed the basis for the cassava flour inclusion in wheat flour for bread and confectionery baking in Nigeria. The Institute shall be eternally grateful to you, sir, for bringing Cassava-bread initiative into limelight again, having realized the great benefits and potentials of this initiative to the common citizen and the nation as a whole. Honorable Minister, we are ready to work with you to drive the national economy for sustainable development through agro-processing and development of agricultural value chains. Our expertise in this area is undoubtable, and our track records have shown evidence of performance and effective delivery of project objectives. On this note, sir, I want to say this is a new dawn partnership, and I quite believe that this partnership shall yield fruitful results by the grace of God. Once again, I welcome you, sir, to the Institute, and seek your kind indulgence to take you through some of our landmark achievements. God bless you, sir. The Federal Institute of Industrial Research was established as a result of an economic mission that visited this country in 1953 to find out why Nigeria was not an industrial nation. The result of that mission was that the result of R&D was diffuse, distorted, and uncoordinated. And so there was a need to establish an Institute of Industrial Research. In 1956, the Federal Institute of Industrial Research came to be. We were once at Victoria Island, but colonized Oshodi. In 1956, we were here. You'll find some of our buildings are old, some of our structures are very dilapidated. We have had the structures, most of them since 1956. They need serious rehabilitation. We are working hard on them. The Institute commenced activity in 1956, and actually we started with a take-up grant of just £260 sterling in those days. Our vision is to be the center of excellence in research and development for the socio-economic development of the nation, and we have a mission to conduct and promote market-driven research and development for industrialization and socio-economic development of Nigeria. Our mandate is as listed up there to identify, characterize, develop to pilot scale, food and agro-processing. We have the mandate to assist in technology transfer, adaptation, utilization of these technologies by local enterprises. And we also have a mandate to undertake economic evaluation of projects and consultancy services, everything targeted towards assisting, accelerating the industrialization of Nigerian economy. The current areas of our focus, as directed by the Ministry of Science and Technology, is to concentrate in the area of R&D into food and agro-allied processing technology that makes us the key technology provider in the area of food processing. R&D into packaging and product design, and also R&D into pulp and paper processing. We also have the mandate to design and fabricate equipment prototype based on results of laboratory experiments. Major achievements has been that we have conducted research, sir, on virtually all the raw materials available in Nigeria, both agro-based and mineral-based. As of the count of today, we have developed over 250 technologies since inception. This is based on locally available raw materials, and successfully we have packaged over 50 of them, sir, for immediate commercialization by the cottage, small and medium enterprises. Training on 25 of these technologies is offered in this institute on a weekly basis. But we are making an attempt. We have established a Kano zonal office for the North for extension services of this technology. In pursuit of the Institute's mandate, some of the research breakthroughs that have impacted on the Nigerian economy are: one, the cassava. FIIRO has been in the forefront of the use of cassava for various food products as far back as the 60s. The mechanization of the production of gari, the first of such plants, designed by the Institute, was manufactured in the UK by the engineering firm Newell Dunford and sold around the world, for which the federal government, I believe today, is still collecting royalty. Since that time, we have designed various types of garifier that can fit the need of various enterprises, from cottage down to the large industrialist. And in the next 3 weeks, we will be establishing a major gari processing plant for Ondo Town in Ondo State as part of our contribution to the development of the gari processing activity in Ondo Town. This was by special request from the Oshimawe of Oba Iladijo. High quality cassava flour, inclusion in wheat flour for bread and confectionery. Sir, the journey of cassava bread and other confectionaries started in 1964 as an intervention by FAO, primarily to reduce importation bills on wheat of developing countries by stimulating local production and processing of non-wheat flour to be incorporated into wheat flour. It also had lots of support from the Tropical Product Institute of England. FIIRO continued to experiment on various levels of inclusion of high-quality cassava flour, that is from 10% to 100% in wheat for bread and other confectionaries. Our result shows that 20% bread, cassava bread, was acceptable, while the confectionaries can go up to 100% replacement, and this has been achieved. A directive by President Olusegun Obasanjo then to the DG FIIRO to demonstrate production of 10% cassava wheat bread was then carried out. A number of activities therefore led to the Attorney General, Minister of Justice preparing a draft bill for the legislation needed for actualizing a policy on 10% cassava count in bread. This is the genesis of the policy on 10%. And now we are looking at 20% cassava flour inclusion in wheat bread and flour in Nigeria. We want at this point to thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture for taking the bull by the horn once more and bringing cassava to the forefront. We salute you, sir, and the Federal Institute of Industrial Research is very much attuned with you and hope to fight the battle of cassava inclusion in bread, because it is a battle that we will. Honorable Minister, it will be my greatest joy if it is at your tenure, with all the efforts you are putting, that this laudable achievement is made in Nigeria. The Institute's recipe for baking wheat cassava bread and confectionery with 20% cassava flour doesn't require the addition of any additives, sir. Our glycemic index is also within the range recommended by the World Health Organization as it affects consumers that suffer from diabetes. When the National Assembly threw the bill out on the flimsy excuse that cassava bread will cause diabetes, I took it up with our scientists here and say, let us do the glycemic index for cassava bread. We are not talking about glycemic index for flour, wheat as it is. We are not talking of glycemic index of cassava as cassava is. I'm assuming that when you mix the two, you are going to have a drop in the glycemic index. But what is the GI for bread as of bread? Because bread contains other components. It has fat, it has sugar, and other things. So the total food of bread has a totally different glycemic index. Will the inclusion of cassava in this cause the deleterious effect on cassava? And so, sir, on 250 subjects, we did the glycemic index using the glucose tolerance test. And we found out that there is a decrease in the GI of bread. And so there is no fear. If bread can be used to manage in terms of proportion and ration for diabetes management, it means the cassava bread has a greater opportunity and chance to be used. So there is no reason to be afraid to take the cassava bread. We have done all the R&D in the area of cassava. That is 10%, 20%, up to 30% bread. Honorable Minister, we have data, scientific data, that supports the inclusion in terms of all the proximate principles, as well as sensory evaluation and shelf life studies. Shelf life studies that have been conducted have shown that for 5 days, the cassava bread is very, very adequate. Results of proximate analysis showed that 10% and 20%, also 30% inclusion of cassava flour compare favorably with controls of 100% wheat. And we have the data. I will give you this paper with this data, which I haven't put on the PowerPoint, but I have taken pains to put this out. This is for the Honorable Minister's consumption, because these are scientific data that will not need public consumption. So we've done things like appearance, pH, moisture, ash, fat, crude fiber, carbohydrate, cyanide content, as well as the energy content. There is no detectable cyanide, none at all, in all of the percentages of cassava that goes into the bread. Apart from cassava root, we've also tried other cereals. We've used maize, we've used sorghum, we've used millet, we've used potatoes. So, Honorable Minister, with regards to cassava, the story is as it is. It's been a long story. We have other products of cassava. We have fufu, laughing, and the noodles. We are currently producing for King's College. The principal of King's College was here, tasted the fufu, and said, please, I want to introduce it to my students. So on Wednesdays, he serves King's College boys fufu with chicken. With chicken. We've just supplied them with 2 tons fufu last week. So they take our fufu, which is odorless, and is in form of free powder. We've trained so many people. Most of the people you find selling dry deodorized food are here. Maybe we'll be lucky if they are not producing food today. It's in the process. Then laughing is another cassava product. These are all food security products. Cassava, they have been mechanized. And then we have the noodles, 100% noodles from cassava. We have also put some soybean into the noodles to make it, that is cassava soya noodles, to increase the protein, especially as it is becoming the children's delicacy now. So we might as well include some level of protein into it. The industrial products we have developed include cassava starch, pharmaceutical grade, as well as the textile grade, emulsifiers and stabilizers for the food industry from cassava. We have developed glucose and adhesives in printing and labeling. The beauty of the glucose, the glucose and the adhesives, Honorable Minister, is that when the flour millers were complaining about the quality, because you must finish processing your cassava, high quality cassava flour, within 24 hours, after which you don't get the quality and the standards, and they were rejecting. Rejection of your high quality cassava flour is not the end of the story. We now told, we've had seminars in which we have worked and converted the high quality cassava flour that does not meet specification to industrial adhesives and glues. We have also converted this to glucose syrup. So if you don't meet the HQCF, you can easily divert your product to adhesives, and you can divert it also to your glucose syrup, which will even yield higher income than the flour. The technology for high quality cassava flour was developed also here, sir, and we have the patent, which is also in public domain. We actually fabricated the flash dryer that was used to produce the first high quality cassava flour. We've also developed chips, pellets. These are easy things that have been developed from cassava. These are some of the pictures of our products. Development and processing of fresh tomatoes and different food products. The Institute has developed and perfected process technology for production of tomato puree, paste, ketchup, and powder. The Institute is currently collaborating with Alban Blanche in the UK for the fabrication of a design plant that will give us tomatoes, which is FIIRO tomato paste. Not the tomato paste you pick in the market that is just made up of carboxymetal cellulose or cornstarch with coloring and being sold to Nigerians, but real tomatoes into paste. And we also looked at the area of tomatoes with pepper, with onions, that can easily make your stew hot, medium, slight spicy. And we worked together with Alban Blanche on this table for about 4 days to come up with this specification. We are hoping that by April this year, sir, we should be able to open that plant in Kano. We have finished with tomato processing areas. We believe very much in proliferation rather than concentration, Honorable Minister. Concentration has actually failed in technology transfer. When you have very large plants, you find that feeding the plant with raw materials becomes a big problem. But when you have proliferation of small to medium enterprises, it's easier for you to have effective processing, which can then finished product can be collated later. This will ensure rapid commercialization, sir, of technology and proliferation of the tomato processing industry in Nigeria. We hope to reduce post-harvest losses, which has been estimated at about 45% for tomato, and to conserve foreign exchange and generate from our survey and from our technology transfer gurus that about 200,000 jobs can be created. In the area of yam is next to cassava among the popular tubers. It is eaten in various forms such as pounded yam, yam porridge, roasted yam, and also fried yam. The instant pounded yam flour, Honorable Minister, can be obtained by parboiling the yam, drying and milling. The flour is reconstituted in hot water to a manner similar to when boiled yam is actually pounded. This technology has been developed way back in the 70s, and we have been transferring the technology to many. In the area of ginger products, we've developed ginger powder, ginger oleoresin, ginger beer. With winning food, the Institute's research brought infant formula, the soy oki, to the forefront, sir. This has been adopted by many firms, and they have used it, and they are working very well. Presently, we have one of these multinationals, an indigenous company, working closely with us to make sure that the soy oki gets to the bottom of the ladder. That is, it's affordable for the poor people. because the incidence of malnutrition is fast rearing its ugly head again in Nigeria. Rehabilitation centers all over the country, especially in the north. And soy is it's a very cheap meal. It contains about 16% protein, and the child can be weaned directly into this without the problem of the traditional ogi that does not have any soy. And this has actually resulted to kwashiorkor and malnutrition initially. But with soy ogi, many children have been weaned, and they have been found very healthy. In fact, I think it's better than most weaning food. It is also fortified with the necessary vitamins and minerals that is needed for the child to grow. We've also developed the soy ogi for adults, instant breakfast for adults. Because the sorghum malt is a good example of a policy direction in this country. Here at the Institute, a lot of work was done, and it was found that the sorghum malt can replace the barley malt in making of beer. And the government was truthful to that, and they banned the importation of barley in this country. All breweries reverted to sorghum, and today we're all taking sorghum beer. In fact, it was found that the beer made out of that sorghum was even better than the beer made from barley. This actually set this country about $570 million US then, way back in 1986. But today, the policy is no longer in place. But people have not changed. They are still using the sorghum malt. So this is a very good example of what policy can do. And this has actually brought the sorghum transformation, the value chain, the agricultural value chain for sorghum, has put it into the limelight. And it has created a lot of jobs for people, both from production, the intermediate processing, and there is a huge market. If you are able to achieve this type of feat with cassava, starting with 10%, if they can't really achieve 10%, I think we would have made tremendous achievement in the area of job creation for our people in Nigeria. In the area of health, we'll be there. In the area of wealth generation and saving of foreign exchange. Edible mushroom. Edible mushroom is one of the greatest gift of God to man, especially in terms of nutrition. It's a highly health food in terms of being very low in calorie. You can cherish it. It's very nice to taste. It's very high in protein. It has high fiber content, contains many minerals and vitamins. So we have actually championed over the years the domestication of edible mushroom, which means you can do it behind your back. And we have been transferring this technology since 1986. What we are doing right now is we have moved forward in this production. We are now developing what is known as spawns and spores. So you can pick your viable spawns and spores from the Federal Institute of Industrial Research. And we've also found new exotic species in Odogulu area of Ogun State. And this we have already streamlined. We are doing the DNA sequencing, and we are bringing out this new species very soon. In the area of fruit juices, fruit spread, fruit wines, fruit concentrates, carbonated fruits and juices, we've done beautifully well in that area. We've been able to develop all of this from fruit to reduce the loss of fruit. Indigenous drinks, the palm wine is a fermentable product, and this technology was developed and perfected in the 70s. And through technology diffusion, it has been well commercialized by the SMEs in Nigeria. It can also be stored for over 6 months. Palm wine is one of the most cherished beverage in our culture. Zoborodo has also, that is the rosal calyx, has also been developed into various forms. We have the ready-to-drink Zoborodo, we have the cordial. We've also been able to have the infusion. Zoborodo, we have worked a lot in the area of toxicology of this. We have done the phytochemicals, and we know that it contains very valuable phytochemicals that has blood pressure lowering capability. Kunuzaki is a fermented cereal beverage, which is very common in the north. It's a beautiful beverage and usually very acceptable during fasting period, but it could also be a beautiful malt drink that can be served on the table and at parties. But the problem with Kunu is that it does not last more than less than 24 hours. You must consume it. But what we have done is we've been able to develop the technology. Your Kunu can be the bottle and it can stay for over 1 year to 2 years now, which means it has extra. We have now trained many people in this. About 7 months ago, we were in the north. That is precisely Mina. We were in Mina, we transferred this to the women, the Muslim women. And in Lagos, we trained over 120 Muslim women on this. We have a mini pilot plant at the Agege Incubator Center. We are using it like cluster now, so that people who want to start production can start off there and selling their Kunu. In the area of oilseed, we've done a lot. We've worked in the area of non-edible foods as well. That is, using oilseed to make alkyl for the industry, for the plumber putty and personal cares. We have developed creams, toilet cleansers, antiseptic soap from neem, even dentifrices, toothpaste, and laundry bag. So the Honorable Minister was asking for the population of my staff. I said we have about 600. Out of the 600, we have over 330 scientists, engineers, and technologists that are working. The rest are made up of our technology transfer and accountants, as well as administrative staff. We've worked in the area of shea butter. We've developed a simple refining process to take off the pale yellow to dark color of the shea butter. Shea butter is a muscle relaxant. And we've also been able to remove a little bit of the drudgery that is involved in production of shea butter fat. Presently, there's a large export on shea butter. The need for shea butter outside this country is so high. But they found that when they get the mechanized shea butter, it's not the specification they want, because the lot has been destroyed, especially in terms of the unsaturated level of the fatty acid of shea butter, and it's got to do with the process technology. What we have done is to simulate the process, which is by foot of extracting the fat to reduce the level of saturation and breaking of bonds. We have a mandate for paper, Honorable Minister. The Federal Institute of Industrial Research actually worked and found that the Melana arbori was good for paper. This actually informed way back then in the 70s the establishment of paper mills like the Jeba, Iwope, and the Okupoku. Today, they are no longer in existence. This is due to the raw materials, as trees are easily destroyed, but they don't grow as fast as they are being cut down. We have not relented in our work. What we are doing right now is using kenaf. Kenaf is a fast-growing shrub, and we have used kenaf to develop paper. I think Jeba is coming on board with us. They want to use the technology to see if they can produce newsprints from kenaf. We have a pulping and a very virile pulp and paper breweries. Honorable Minister, will not leave this place. We are talking of taking touch of all the materials we have worked on. To achieve all of this, we actually have facilities in our laboratories. We have an ultra-high performance lipid chromatography, the latest. We have GCMS spectrophotometer. We have atomic absorption spectrophotometer. We have nanodrop spectrophotometer. We have 50 research laboratories in this complex where we do our R&D. We have 6 engineering workshops, and we have 6 pilot plants. So it's a huge organization. I will just quickly browse through minerals and metallurgy without going deeply into them because we are not concentrating in these areas, but these are areas also we have worked on. We have been able to process so many things like hydrated lime, kaolin, gypsum, plaster of Paris, chalk, and porcelains in the area of fabric, in the area of mineral processing. The only area that our mandate does not touch is in the oil and gas sector. We to work in the area of agro and mineral processing. We have a very viral design and fabrication of prototype equipment department where we are able to translate all the results from the laboratory to pilot plants. It is at the pilot plants we are able to test both the technical and commercial viability of the laboratory process technology or the product that has been developed in preparation for the market. Our engineers have been able to develop over 250 equipments, starting from the flash dryer to the tunnel dryer. All forms of dryer have been developed here. Rotary dryer, hammer mill, grain distoners, melon sheller, tapioca roaster, hydraulic press, and so on. Sealing machine, mention it, the fish smoking kilns, we have them. Okra slicing machine, ovens, solar dryers, specialized solar dryers that can dry your agricultural components and bring it out in the right color and not destroy any of the characteristics, physiochemical characteristics of the products. Move on. These are fish smoking kiln, agro waste dryer. Honorable Minister, don't be discouraged. It's probably the FIIRO, but they sure do work because they are based on the process technology of the lab. The difference between our own design and fabrication and imported ones are that the specification of the process technology are taken into consideration in building, and that is why they don't fail. But when you go outside the country, you import. You import to adapt to a process you have developed for an indigenous product. It might not work. We are now working closely with Urban Plan to make sure that we get the final finishing to our product, but they sure do work. That's our soap reactor, our yam slicer, our yam parboiler. We have the cabinet tray dryers, the rotary dryer, the flash dryer, the hammer mill with cyclone. We have our hammer mill wet, hammer mill dry, the manual screw press, our hydraulic press, our granulator, wet sieve. All these are cassava equipment. You see some of them, we still use them in our production because we produce our high quality cassava flour for our bread on a regular basis. We have the liquid mixers, we have our pasteurizers, the tapioca roaster, juice extractor, the cabinet dryer, the cowpea dehuller, extruder, Beniseed ice cream cleaner, the cassava peeler, the baking oven, our flour mixer, ginger splitting machine, and motorized plantain slicer. To be able to achieve all this fabrication, we have state-of-the-art equipment. We have a CNC machine. I don't know how many institutes have CNC machines in this country. We have the universal milling machine. We have the lathe machine, tools grinding machine. We have a plasma welding machine. These are things our engineers do. Weekly training programs in the institute on all of this. We train in bread and confectionery. We train in high quality cassava flour production. We train in instant pounded yam flour production, fruit juice, edible mushrooms cultivation, zobo production, punuzaki, preservatives. We train in soap and detergent production. We are into electroplating and stop plug refurbishing, the palm wine bottling, preservation and fufu flour, high quality cassava starch, essential oil, hair and body pomade, small fish and vegetable oil extraction. These we do on regular basis. But when we have specialized cases, we do special training. We've just finished a massive training in Abuja last week. This is how our Kunu plan looks at the Technology Incubator Center. Move on. This is part of the training program we've had. Go on, the Mina training. This is our fish smoking training program for Lagos fish farmers. Move on. There are other services we offer. These include market surveys. We prepare feasibility reports and business plans. Actually, our training is a total package. We don't just transfer the technology. We give you a pre-feasibility report, tell you how to manage your business, and we also transfer and assist you in getting loans from bank. We have an MOU with Bank of Industry and Bank of Agriculture, and people certified from us can easily access loans. We do project evaluation, and we also do what is known as troubleshooting for industries. That is, those that are picking our technology. When they run into problems, we try as much as possible to sort them out. Analytical services, we have chemical and microbiological analysis of raw materials. We have provision of parameters for standardization of manufactured goods. We do training in quality control and assurance. And we also do routine general control and safety evaluation checks on foods for registration with NAFDAC and for ascertaining standard specifications by SOAs. Most importantly, we do all these analyses at very, very cheap and below standard costing. In fact, we take it more as our sort of corporate social responsibility for job creation in this country. Technical services as presented. In conclusion, Honorable Minister, FIIRO creates opportunities for the development of SMEs in Nigeria. Having taken you through our competencies, I strongly believe you have been able to identify areas, both for your ministry and FIIRO to work together in synergy, actually, towards the actualization of food security, industrialization, poverty eradication, and job creation. We look forward to working with you on this.
We need to say very thank you to the DG. We want to listen to the response from the Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Director General, for FIIRO. Let me thank you for that really brilliant, very clear, very articulate, compelling presentation that you have made about the work, the achievements, the history, and the new directions that you're all taking here at FIIRO. I'm very proud to be here at FIIRO today. It's something I've always wanted to do. And so when I ran into you at the airport yesterday, actually I was just on my way, I was right in front, I looked behind and I saw someone coming. I said, that's the DJ of FIIRO. So I stopped and I asked her to come, that I would make sure on this trip to Lagos that I made it here today. Let me also thank you for all your directors that are here, the deputy directors that are here, the various scientists that you have, those that you will call leaders without title, but they are doing incredible work. Let me just say that I'm very, very proud of FIIRO. I was proud of FIIRO before, but I am more proud of FIIRO today. You know, people will tell you colonization is a bad thing. But when the DG was talking, She talked about we have colonized, FIIRO has colonized Oshodi since 1956. And so I felt that FIIRO, for all the things that you've done, technologies, training, capacity building, entrepreneurship development, that in fact you are a colonizer for good of Oshodi. It's quite impressive to look at the range of technologies. And I think what I find quite compelling listening to you is that every work that you're doing is focused on adding value to all the things that Nigeria produces in abundance. Whether it is cassava, whether it is sorghum for malt, whether it is paper, making pulp and paper out of our own melina trees, and whether it is using a lot of your, even the calyx one that you were talking about was quite interesting to me. But of course, even the one of wheat and all the things that you're doing. Let me say that it's very, very important for any nation to drive its agricultural growth and agro-industrialization. It must fund and it must significantly support research and development. And as a scientist myself, when I was appointed Minister of Agriculture, I got to the ministry and I found that the share of the R&D budget as the total share of the budget of the ministry was only 8%. And so in my first year, we increased that to 21%. And then we went to 23%. I wish I had a lot more money. I would keep increasing money for R&D, because R&D is what drives everything. It allows you to take what it looks like, not something of value, to transform it into, to create value with R&D. And every economy that has advanced significantly has invested significantly in R&D. And just listening to you before I will continue, I think that the budget for FIIRO ought to be increased, because I think the range of things that you are doing are things that will significantly impact the economy, are already impacting the economy. But you can do a lot and also create quite a lot of jobs and set up entrepreneurs. So I'm quite proud of what you're doing. Now, of course, agriculture is, for me, I want to say that it is central to Mr. President's transformation agenda, because food is everything.
Yes, yes.
You know, nobody drinks oil and smokes gas or oil and everybody eats food. But the problem is that we've been using our population to buy and to eat the food produced by others. God never makes mistakes on nations or peoples. He gives them what they need to prosper where they are. It's what you do with what you have that determines the outcome that you're going to get. Now, if you abandon what you have in abundance, and you go and use the things of others, it's pure prodigal economics. In the sense that you're spending a lot of your own resources keeping other people's economy working, keeping their farmers working, keeping jobs exported to them, while you at home don't have jobs. And any nation that does not add value to its own food and use its own population to create big markets for its farmers is in the business of manufacturing poverty. And so I believe very strongly that the agricultural transformation agenda of Mr. President is directed towards changing this pathway, making agriculture a business, taking a value chain. So whether it is rice, whether it is cassava, whether it is cocoa, whether it is palm, whether it is sorghum, whatever it is, Nigeria must add value to every single thing. And that's why we've taken agriculture as a business that is from end to end. You go from the farm, you go to the mill, or the processing facility, and you go all the way to the table, and you capture a significant share of that consumer price. That's where the money is. And that's why Mr. President took the decision that no more agriculture as a development activity. You know, it's a business. Now, if it's not a business, why is it that the richest people in America are farmers? why is it that the richest people in Europe are farmers? That's because, however, they take agriculture as a business. And so agriculture is not a way of life, it's a business. And we are determined as a government to use agriculture to lift millions of people out of poverty into wealth by encouraging businesses that will add value to every single thing that we have. When Mr. President launched his transformation agenda just in 2011 when he appointed me as minister, it's a great honor for me to be back at home, working and doing what I love the best. And I said at the time that my goal is for Nigeria to be a global powerhouse in food. You can produce, yes, but then you've got to add value and take a big share of that particular market. Within 2 years, just think about what has happened. Our food import bill in 2011 was 2.38 trillion naira. That is how much we were spending on buying food and animal products. But we reduced that down to 1.5 trillion by 2012. That means we were able to cut it down by 906 billion within that period from 2011 to 2012. And we continue to work very hard on that because we believe that there is no reason for Nigeria to be a food-dependent, import-dependent economy. Nigeria should be a net exporter of food. And so, I want to say that FIIRO will play a significant role in this particular drive that we are having. Now, let me say that I was quite excited to listen to you about some of the things that have been done even since the 60s here. Let me pick the case of the cassava flour bread. I haven't had lunch here, so I thought we were going to.
Honorable Ministers.
But I will have this for lunch, you know, because all the things. Well, let me say some few words about cassava bread, or why this is very, very important. The Director General talked about her own experience going into looking for potato bread. Listen, when God said man shall not live by bread alone, God never intended that to mean that man has to live by wheat bread. Bread is made out of flour. There is potato bread. In fact, throughout my graduate school, master's and PhD training, for all the time I worked in Rockefeller Foundation, every time I was in New York, my bread was eating potato bread. Wow. So, and it is very good bread. It's made out of potatoes. So you use what you have to create products and consumables that your people will take. And I believe that just simply adding 20% high quality cassava flour to our bread will put roughly 240 billion naira in the hands of our farmers, our processors. We will stimulate rural economic growth. You know, we cannot export jobs to others. We have to create jobs at home. Because we are not going to be a prodigal economy. We're going to be an economy that creates jobs in abundance from what we have. And it's fantastic. This is what is very great about policy. You build on other things. You build on what people have done. I think when President Obasanjo did the 10% work, he really pushed very hard. And I know FIIRO, from all of what I've had, was a very key component of actually driving that. And President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan came and said, look, Minister, I want this bread commercialized. And we're working together, everybody now, we've commercialized that. In fact, I was very pleased talking to the Director General that she said when I raised the bar to 20%, FIIRO decided also to push to 20%. This is 20%?
20%.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. That is great. And this is, we have to take ourselves from the clutches of those that want us to be perpetual economic slaves. DG, I want to say that this issue of including cassava flour in our bread is a matter of jobs, it's a matter of national security, it's a matter of health, even for our consumers, because information is power. The Director General just explained to you very, very clearly the work they did on glycemic index for bread. She said it wasn't about flour, but the glycemic index for bread. And that for cassava flour bread, and that it is healthy. It has no cyanide, it has nothing. You have nothing to worry about. Do I look like somebody who's sick? No. I eat it every single day. That's why I'm sure those of you that are here. So, as far as I'm concerned, if it's not produced in Nigeria, processed in Nigeria, eaten by Nigerians, it's not good enough. And that's why I want to really commend FIIRO's DG and all your staff for participating with us on Mr. President's Cassava Bread Development Fund. Because the Cassava Bread Development Fund that the President gave us was 10 billion naira. And we are working very actively with the Bank of Agriculture, the Bank of Industry. We're working with the government, we're working with all the processors, everybody. The goal is very simple. Take this bread to every nook and corner of this country. And that's why we are training 5,000 master bakers right now. That's why we are helping the SMEs that are producing the flour to upgrade their infrastructure. And I was glad when the DG mentioned the work of FIIRO on the flash dryers, because then we are helping them to also upgrade their flash dryers, rotary ovens, chillers, and mixers, and all those things that they need. Just about 3 weeks ago, I had the executive vice chairman of Cargill. Cargill is the largest food manufacturing company in the world. Visited us, and he took care, first time he came, he took the cassava bread home to his kids in Twin City, Minnesota, United States. So he came back and he said, I gave cassava bread to my kids in the United States. And my kids sliced it up, and they took it and they toasted it. And he said, it's the best bread that we've ever had. Yeah. We must have confidence in ourselves. We must have confidence in our own science. We must have confidence in our own research institutions. We must have confidence that we can be great, even greater, by consuming what we produce. Of course, other people that send you products will want you to know that what you are producing to replace what they are sending you is not good. How can you expect the the cat to take care of milk, or cat to take care of fish? Of course, when you come and you ask the cat, where's the milk? It wasn't here. No, we cannot be deceived. And we must not be deceived. Because the future of this nation rests squarely in actually making agriculture once again the centerpiece to create jobs in this country. And so, DG, I want you to know that the battle to get the bill that will make it into a law for all the flour millers in this country to add high quality cassava flour, of course, and other flours, sorghum flour we have in the north, to our food, is one we are going to fight, and is one that we are going to win. Because we must create jobs here. We must keep our farmers working with good income. We must revive our rural economy. It's about our own survival as a country. It's not about the importers. So I want to be very clear. Those days when the flour millers play games with us is gone. I don't think that if you're a friend of somebody and the person said, I want 100% of what you have, is that a friend? But if I say that you have 80% and I have 20, is that too much for me to ask for as a friend? So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put the interest of this country before the interest of any other country. I met already with the chair of the flour millers. I've already told them what we as a government are going to do to ensure we have sufficient quantity of high quality cassava flour. We have determined as a government that we will put into the mix $70 million that will allow us to acquire small and medium scale high quality cassava flour processing mills with a capacity of 18,000 metric tons. One thing I thank God for is that anytime a door closes, God always has another door open. And we have actually requested, I've directed that they have to have a skin in the game. We need 8 more large-scale, high-quality cassava flour processing plants in this country. I've asked that they have to invest in those 8. You have to have a skin in the game. You can't just sit there and say, well, you know, you don't have enough flour. Today you don't have enough of this. Today you don't have, no. Those are game days. And those days are absolutely gone. And so we are in discussion with them with that. And that's what we are going to have. I believe that by the end of this year, we'll be able to move to 5% compulsory inclusion based on the mills that are going to be in place. And that this year, actually, we've worked very hard since last year to build up the supply chain for cassava. We expect at the end of May this year to have roughly 2.4 million metric tons additional of cassava tubers. And that, if you translate it into high quality cassava flour, will translate literally into 600,000 metric tons of high quality cassava flour. So, and that's all we need to meet the 10% inclusion, compulsory inclusion. So I just want you to know that we are working on the chain, building up the supply chain to be able to meet that. So I believe that we'll be able to do 5% compulsory this year. By next year, the 10% will be standard all across the industry. Of course, those that don't like it, they are welcome to move to other countries. Let me also say that when it comes to the issue of nutrition, which the Director General mentioned, she's absolutely correct. We have a number of problems with malnutrition. And there's a lot in our local products that we can use. Sorghum is very important. In the north, very important for us. And we are working now with the World Food Program and also Dancer Food, part of the Dangote Group, to begin to use sorghum as high energy food. Today, the World Food Program buys 98% of all the high energy food it uses in Africa from Asia. But what do you need to make high energy foods? It is sorghum, it is soybean, and you need maize. And we have that in abundance all across Nigeria. So we have decided to do that. And I'm very pleased that the Dancer Group has committed to put in 36 million euros to set up what will be Africa's largest high energy food plant here in Nigeria that will add value to our thing. That's what I'm talking about when we say value chain. So we look forward to being able to work with you on that. Now let me make a comment with regard to the issues going forward. By the way, on the tomato, what you're doing with the Alban Blanche, is that the Alban Blanche? Yeah, it's very good. Yes, it's very good because Nigeria produces 1.5 million metric tons of tomatoes. We're the largest producer. But we are importing tomato paste from China, from Italy. Why? Just because we are not adding value to ours. So you go to Cassava area that you are working, the tomato runs away every day. And I'm delighted once again that we've changed that here. Today we have private sector investing. I think the Dangote Group is investing in the Cassava Valley area, $30 million US. No, it's $45 million US in a plant that they are constructing that will process all of that tomato into paste so that we can begin to have our own good made in Nigeria tomato paste, not the ones that we are bringing in. So this is the kind of changes that we are talking about within the agricultural sector. Policy is everything. You look at what we've done with smallholder farmers in this country under this president. 2 years, within 2 years, we reached 6 million farmers, all of them with mobile phones, collecting seeds and fertilizers all across the country, impacting on 30 million people. And we are determined by God's grace that this year we will reach 10 million smallholder farmers, an impact on 50 million people, improve their food security. That's what policy does, good policies. But I raise policies because it's important for us to have the legal instrument that protects the reforms. And I want to thank the National Assembly tremendously, particularly the Senate Committee on Agriculture and the House Committee on Agriculture, for the kind of support they're giving us for what we're doing. Because they have already indicated that they will pass bills that will, make sure that these reforms are protected. It's in our interest as a nation. It's beyond any individual. It's about our collective existence as a country and our prosperity as a country. And I want to really thank them. So we are going to work together with you. I like the passion, I like the drive, so, you said I'm holding going for a drink, sort of kind of a Bekoya thing. In closing, let me say I am excited about agro-allied issues. Today, we are working with a new design of our agricultural investment landscape. We've been able to attract $4 billion US of private sector investment into this space since we started 2 years ago. And in the case of cassava, and not just from cassava, there's what we call staple crop processing zones. There are vast areas that we're attracting food manufacturing industries or plants to come into rural areas and process and add value to things there. Not take raw materials out. And as they do that, food loss goes down, jobs are created, rural economies are revived, and you have more efficient value chains. So those staple crop processing zones, we've designed them. We work with UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, to develop them. And we estimate that they will add roughly $9 billion US, to our GDP. That's about 1.4 trillion to our own, GDP by that alone. So we've started in Kogi State, in Alagbe area, where Cargill, that's the #1 food manufacturing company in the world, is now going to be investing $200 million US in transforming cassava into starch, and then making sweeteners from cassava, and making also sorbitol out of cassava. Now that tells me that there's a lot of scope for FIIRO to join that staple crop processing zone team. So I want to ask you to give us the technical staff here that will join part of our team, because we really are on, we don't have time. We want to totally change our rural economy and create new belts for the world. So I am all for that, and I wanted the DG to put up teams for us. Let me say that on the issue of taking your technologies off the shelf, I told the DG that partnering together with us, my ministry will work with your ministry. We will even find additional resources from our ministry to support the technologies that you've developed that is sitting on the shelf that needs to go out to farmers. Because the value of the technology is not that it's sitting on the shelf, it's that it's actually being utilized. And in fact, when she was talking about all the agro stuff, I said, why is this FIIRO under another ministry? Why is this ministry? So maybe I will try and tell my sister I have to grab this. But you are so crucial for what we are doing. Finally, as a point of encouragement for you, I think I like the tenacity that I see. I like the resilience. I like the fact that you believe in the country, you believe that things can change. And with all the technologies that you've developed, I think you should have intellectual property rights to many of these things so that you can use them to generate incomes or wealth for yourself as institutions. And I want to encourage you to work even more with the private sector, because there's no reason why FIIRO cannot be funded significantly by the private sector, taking off all these things away from your shelves. I know you all are here, you've been working all day. I want to thank you for finding the time to receive me here. I'm delighted to be here with my staff. It's only my first visit, but I can tell you, since you are colonizers of Ocean, one of these days I'll come and colonize this country. Thank you very much. What I'm eating here is nourishing bread powered by FIIRO. And this is 20% cassava flour in this bread. If you're not eating this bread, you don't know what you're missing. This bread is tasty. This bread is soft. This bread has a shelf life that's way over 5 days. And this bread is cheaper than 100% wheat flour bread. I want you to know that we're going to change the name for this bread. We're going to start calling it Cassy-bread. So from today, this becomes Cassy-bread. Thank you very much.
My job here is just to say a little bit of thanks and to do a presentation to you. I must say that we are highly honored. When the DG told us yesterday you were coming, it was like, you really mean it or you were joking? And if you have an equipment with you to extract the feel of the people, you can read, wow, so this is real. We're so glad to receive you, sir. We've been so worried over this last months or years, ever since you've taken over this minister's position. We've been looking forward to this visit. And I must tell you that your visit today has begun a new mark, a new stride in our drive to achieve industrialization of the nation. We want to appreciate you and let you know that we truly, truly appreciate you. We look forward to a good relationship even from this thing. I believe God has a time for everything. And today, that's when God has decided you will be here. We thank you so very much, and we truly, truly appreciate you. And on behalf of the DG, the management, and the entire staff, we would like to DG please.
To the best of the best.
Yes.
To the great minister, the protect minister, to the glory of Nigeria. I present this to you.
Thank you very much. See what you get when you eat cassava bread.
Cassy-bread. When you eat Cassy-bread.
So go get your Cassy-bread, you will get one of these.
We also have here a package of our food. We have publications for you.
Once you take this,
Yes.
Yeah. You know when you talk about swallow, one thing to watch out for is that those that are selling us a lot of products, food products and so on. I mean, their job is to make markets for themselves. There's no way it is. But when you have your little kids hooked onto wheat-based products, Indomie, all these kind of things, and then when you have your adults whose eat swallow also hooked into wheat-raised swallow, they are going to just be wallowing in poverty if you do that. So you should eat more of this real swallow, which comes from Nigeria's own products.
Honorable Minister, just one thing. Recently we had the 14th Radio Games Festival, and we had a perception that was here, so we kept this for
From the from the games. All right. Do you have my own tracksuit?
Also have your entourage, sir. Thank you for bearing some silence.
Thank you very much.
Can we have quickly many things? Let's have the photograph with your
It's taking products that you will not necessarily see how to add value to. They've added value to it. It goes from taking sorghum for malts, using high quality cassava flour in making bread, in doing starch, in doing deodorized fufu, so you can actually have good fufu and lafu. I like lafu anyway. So that is very, very good. They are working to use some of our wood products to do pulp and paper. They're working to even use calyx to make zondoro, zoborodo, for people that they can use. They're doing fortified foods. They are doing a lot of training. I understand they have over 250 types of technologies that they've actually developed and gotten out. So that's very important. I think I feel that Nigerian agricultural scientists are working under very difficult circumstances. And for them to achieve what they've achieved with the little amount of budget they have, you can imagine what they would do if they have more budget. And I think from what I've seen today, I'm absolutely convinced that they and other agricultural research institutes in this country ought to be more significantly supported.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sorry. Thank you, sir.
The hot air from there. Then putting the food on the salt with air comes along this distance. Down to this place. Yeah, as soon as it drops here, it's fully dry. Now, who helps you with but who helps you with, you get a prototype, but who does the manufacturing of the development of the flash dryers and the manufacturing? We do it here. Why don't you do it?
We have
Why do you want private sector to that state? We have private sector. So as far as the travel then it comes out straight and it comes out like this, dried. No milling, no nothing, no smell, no nothing. Same process we use for drying the cassava flour and even the cassava starch. So these three of them are using flat dryer. So what's the cost of the flat dryer? Yes, now it's between 5 and 6.5. And what's the capacity? That's 6,000. Yeah, that's 8 for the 8 working hour, 3,000 per day.
These are some of our finished products.
That's the flour, cassava flour. That's all for baking. Yeah, this is chips. That's cassava chips. Now where's the thing? farmers about $28-30 million. And so we've been
Have they gotten the price right?
Yes, it's all
based on the international market.
Yes, it's part of the issue that we're working on.
Okay.
But the issue now is financing. So we've been able to get the Africa Import-Export Bank. It was a facility of $40 million to support those things. So the technical issue is getting the cheap to provide quality. So I think you need to be on the issue of that.
Excuse me, this has been successfully rehydrated, fermented, and used to make that. Just as it is like this.
Okay.
They are able to convert it to that.
That's not good.
For making me go.
I used to enjoy it when I was a student.
Yes, so milk and
So
sugar.
this is that. That's
This
it.
milk.
This is the sorry.
And the infant.
That's what it is.
The protein content is different.
Different. But this was
This is a higher protein content than this.
Better. Yeah. For packaging.
One of the things that
Yes.
I think people do
I've just established a packaging division now.
When you do many of these things, if you partner with a private sector, they will take many of the things to scale like you never know before. And then the returns come to you from the reality type of life. So, yes, that's very important. Business model. Now, Ada is my senior advisor for Costa.
Okay.
She used to be vice president of a major fund in New York before she came back home from the Delta. And so she can help you with your team with an investment strategy for the private sector to take these things to scale. We're working with a lot of brands. Yeah. You know, because you can imagine if a private sector sees this, see the money, they put their money there, and then you get your own cost. Yeah, that's the way to be. That's the way to be.
It looks like magic.
Yeah, and then you focus on what you know how to invest, which is
R&D.
product development.
Beautiful.
And so on.
Yes.
And so we can
Thank you so
even
much,
help
sir.
you to some kind of an investment fund where we bring in the private sector from the agro allied industry. We give you the platform to explain and then look for how we can make the connection to it. Yeah, it's very important. Okay, thank you.
Nourishing bread, powered by FIIRO. And this is 20% cassava flour in this bread. If you're not eating this bread, you don't know what you're missing. This bread is tasty. This bread is soft. This bread has a shelf life that's way over 5 days. And this bread is cheaper than 100%.